Hello. So you're wondering, what is the internet? The internet is a global communication system that consists of interconnected computer networks that are all over the world. And all these are linked through wires, cables, and even satellites around the world. I actually did read an article that said there's over 40,000 networks of today. And but yet, let me show you an example. So, as you can see, the US is covered of multiple networks. And even overseas, it extends to different countries from here, or even down here. So in some way, we're all connected to the internet. So the good thing about the internet is that we can gain almost any information we want, and even if we want to communicate to someone across the world, it's possible. Like for example, this YouTube video. I intended for you to watch, but if somebody from London or even China wants to know what is the internet, they're able to look it up through this website. So, how do we establish internet connection? Well, first you need an ISP, which stands for Internet Service Providers. These are companies such as AT&T, Xfinity, or even Bluestream. What these companies do is that they provide internet services to their paying customers. And for me, I have Xfinity. So I have internet, and Xfinity sent me this modem slash router. This modem slash router helped me get connection to the internet through this cable cord, which is located all the way to my backyard and then all the way to my power line. Now I have internet connection, so I can use it on any device such as a laptop or my cell phone to, use the internet. Now, when that happens, my device now has an IP address. An IP address stands for Internet Protocol Address, which just pretty much means is that my device now has an identification number when I use the internet. And it's not just my device, it's websites that we use like every day. For instance, Netflix have an IP address, Yahoo, and even Google. Actually, let me show you an example of an IP address, a Google IP address. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in the numbers 172.217.7.238. When I click enter, it should give me Google. Now, don't worry, we don't ever have to write all those numbers down. Thank God. And it's because of the DNS, which stands for Domain Name System. Pretty much what it does is it's like a version of a phone book. So, when you want to look for a company, you go through your phone book, you look for the name, and then you have the address and the phone number. Pretty much DNS works the same way. When you type in Google, it takes that name and it translates it to that number that I just put up there. So when you put in Google, it looks for 172.217.7 and so on until it reaches Google. So now we see Google. As we all see the front end, the visual, but what's going on in the back end? How do that data get sent to Google? Pretty much when I type in Google, I send a data to my modem, which then sends it to the Infinity router, which then sends it to another router until it reaches to, let's say, New York, where Google's at. So it'll go from, let's say, Florida to Georgia to North and South Carolina and so on until it reaches to New York, where Google's at. And we call those hops. So when it hops from one router to the next or one network to the next, we call that hops. So it hops from Florida network to Georgia network to South Carolina, North Carolina network, all the way to reach to Google, and then it sends it back. Now, there's a protocol that actually helps through that process. And that protocol is called a TCPIP, which stands for Transmission Control Protocol over Internet Protocol. Well, pretty much what TCP is pretty much like a transportation system where it helps that data that I sent to my router get all the way to New York, and then make sure all that data from New York gets sent back to my device in one piece. There's also another one called UDP, which stands for User Datagram Protocol. Pretty much it sends data in a faster rate, but it also loses data as well. So for example, I'm not too sure, but for example, let's say you're sending a big file to a client and they're all the way in, let's say London. Pretty much they receive it really quickly, but they're missing some of the date, some of the file, and they're wondering what's going on. Pretty much, like I said, UDP sends the information faster, but it loses some data along the way. So I actually do want to show you an example. We're gonna go to, if you want to ever track the hops and see like how many places it goes to before it reaches to the location, I have one right here. So I put in command prompt for window 10, and it brings you to over here. So what you want to do is you want to put in trace, trace RT, and then you put space and you put the website name. So we're going to use Google since I've been using Google a lot. Google.com, and we're going to click enter. So like I said, the maximum hops is about 30. So it's hopping from one network to the next, to the next, to the next, and to the next until it reaches to Google. So this actually might take a while, so I'm gonna flip the camera back on me. So like I said, it goes through a process and then comes back to me. But let's say, for example, the network in Georgia is down for some reason. Things that, remember, there's 40,000 networks. So if network in Georgia is down, then don't even worry about it because it'll just go to Alabama, to Tennessee, to Kentucky. Kentucky, I'm messing up. But you get what I'm saying. It goes to different networks to make sure it gets to New York, and it'll take those same networks to make sure it gets back. So we're going to check on the command prompt and see where it's at. Oh, okay. And as you can see, is completed. So it went from here all the way to here. It took 11 hops, and it's going to take the same amount of hops to get back. So I hope I was able to explain the internet a lot clearer to you, but if there's any information I left out or you're still kind of confused, then let me know. Let me know how I did.